Good afternoon, Tony Dattino, along with my Chief Operating Officer, Karen Pinson, who has just completed running our 24th USA Memory Championship at Full Sail University here in Winter Park, Florida, where we had finalists from our July events with Memory League and Lumosity come to Winter Park and get on stage and go through 4 events. Karen, any initial thoughts on the competition?
We had a lot of very familiar faces of folks that we have come to know, and we've had a lot of new faces, and one newcomer, Tony, who just completely blew us away.
Was Cameron.
Cameron.
Young high school student that came into the competition this year, scored the top on the Lumos games on the
Pinball
recall, and scored over 20,000 points, and he actually got to pick the very first seating. So that very first event we do is to let the mental athletes decide where they wanted to sit. And it was kind of interesting to me that he picked the very last seat in the competition. And subsequently to that, each of the mental athletes just filled in, which I've never seen happen before. They usually do a random seating, but we went from the 9th to the 1st, and they just went backwards from 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, all the way to 1, and how they sat.
And you don't catch why they did that, Tony.
I still don't understand why people sit where they do after the seating.
By Cameron picking seat number 9.
Yeah.
There were 8 people in front of Cameron that had the opportunity to make a mistake and get eliminated.
Well, I've not
and
ever...
that's how they filled in backwards.
What surprised me is I've not ever seen him do that in all the years we've doing it. But in any case, Cameron was just absolutely fabulous. He got to the final 3. So here Cameron was between Jason and John Graham, who's a 3-time winner now. And I said to Cameron, I said, how does it feel being in the middle of the Oreo cookie? And he said, the cream is the best part as far as I'm concerned. And so... it was a great final in terms of seeing Jason and Cameron and John compete for the double decks of cards. But each of the events was interesting, and Full Sail University, again, did a fabulous job in watching the students that put this on and the production they do, from their control room to the panels that run the event from the stage to the lighting. I had my own sound person who stayed with me all day and told me what to do and when to do it. I mean, these students at Full Sail do an amazing job.
When you tune in and you watch that YouTube video, you need to understand these are students. They're not paid professionals yet. They should be. But these are students who can pull off this amazing production, Tony, under the supervision of amazing mentors like Corbett and Sydney and the other professors at Full Sail. Fantastic.
The good news is we do bring them in food, and by the time we left, the food was just almost all gone. So, you know what, well worth it to stop
They're
and
still college
pick up
kids.
some croissants and some wraps and cookies and sodas and water. I mean, it was absolutely a lot of fun, and I just checked the food room before we left, and it was just about emptied. So we fed them well, but they well did what they needed to do. Had a separate place for Nelson to do his interviews. I thought Nelson Dellis, our 5-time champion, did some really terrific interviews, first with each of the mental athletes as to why would you want to be a mental athlete competing in the USA Memory Championship. And got some real good footage. I thought that was some interesting stories.
Absolutely. It gets us all more familiar with who these people are, and it lets us see, again, something I've said always, they are extraordinarily ordinary people. So any one of us can possibly do this. It just takes practice and patience and dedication.
Karen touches the point that I've been asked that, are these people nerds? Or are they some kind of weirdos or whatever? These are people that just decided that they wanted to learn how to improve their memories. Took the time. In some cases, they talked about Nelson Dellis. In some cases, it was Josh Foer's book, Moonwalking with Einstein. But they found a way, in watching us on YouTube and watching prior events on television, they just decided they were going to see if they could improve their memories. And so they decided that they could do it, which is a simple thing. Do you believe you can improve your memory? Then they said, okay, we need to go learn what those are, and we do have an online course underneath the USA Memory Championship that some of them have been using as well. It's called Maximum Memory Mastery. and then they decided to practice. And then the ultimate challenge was they had the courage and their self-confidence to say, let me go put myself on stage and
Exactly.
let me compete against some of the best. And so in our qualifying events, we had over 100 people register this year, and we brought that to 9 people that eventually came to us on stage. We did miss a couple of our qualifiers due to illness issues or
Scheduling and that
scheduling
kind of thing.
things. So we did
Yeah.
miss a few people, but overall, I thought they did a great job. And Karen and Patricia, her daughter, Patricia was our photographer this year, did a great job getting hundreds of pictures, which we'll begin to post out on our website. So not only do we have the moving video on YouTube, underneath the YouTube channel for USA Memory, but Patricia Pinson did some really great work in getting a lot of still pictures as she roamed around the room. And what I found amusing is during the video of the presentation we watched yesterday, you could see Patricia taking her pictures in the background, which was, to me, a lot of fun watching her bounce around and how she was photographing people. Karen sat at the front in the middle. She was our judge for the day. There were a few bumps where I had hearing some of the mental athletes, and I was giving them credit to move on, and Karen, fortunately, was hearing in the middle. That happened a couple of times.
Yes, not quite. It was smoother than last year, so I was told. So, but sometimes it's very difficult based on where speakers are placed. Some athletes speak a little bit softer than others. So the lights are on. Tony, you can just attest to the pressure the athletes feel being on stage. It's very easy for me in the nice quiet shadows, sitting there with my little notepad saying, "Oh no, Tony, that was incorrect." Or, "Nope, sorry, I'm Tony, that was correct." You can understand how the pressure affects the performance.
Which is what John Graham said.
Yes.
John Graham, who's now our 3-time winner, chasing Nelson Dellis, who's a 5-time winner.
Yep.
Basically said that at home he practices with his kids jumping on him. And
Yes,
watching
he's
TV.
got a 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and they're climbing on him, pulling cards, racing around. So some athletes, Tony, as you know, in the past, put the muting headsets on and they kind of hunch down and you don't
Yeah.
even know what they're doing. Where John is basically in the middle of romper room, because that helps him learn to tune out those distractions and keep that focus honed.
And then his wife shared. We had his wife who came
Nikki,
to be
yes.
with him. Nikki, she said she's more nervous about it than he is. But when they're home, she even turns the TV volume up to make it.
She'll turn the TV volume up. She might encourage the girls to go check in on Dad and help him out a little bit. Yes, so she does to continue to increase his training regimen, I guess.
And so if I may stand up here for a minute, I had one of our guests that comes, that's actually going through the maximum memory training now, brought me this T-shirt, "Train Your Brain," and I just love it. And I did wear it to the dress rehearsal on Friday and kind of flashed, and Patricia has a picture of me doing it. But train your brain is what this is all about. Can we all do this? Are we all capable of doing more with our own intelligence and our own creativity, especially our own memories, than we ever thought possible? And my, obviously, for the purpose of this event now for 24 years, is to demonstrate to people in our country that you too can improve your brain. Mm-hmm. Whether you want to be a mental athlete and test that in a competition is purely an option, but the benefits that you get from just learning what these men and women are doing is significant enough to make a difference in your life. And these are life-altering skills that mental athletes have competed, and I can share that with a couple of the young high school students
Yes.
that now want to do what?
They want to go out, they want to mentor, they want to teach, they want to learn, they want to focus their future careers in neuroscience.
Is that not?
It's not been one or two,
Wow.
Tony. It's been a lot.
There's been a number of them.
Yes.
We've got some medical people. We've got some of them that have gone to research, but we just picked up 2 more over this tournament that are asking me, what do I do next? How do I do? So we're going to be working on trying to introduce them to one of our key integrate people at MIT. And in that regard, Robert Ajamian from MIT did a really fantastic presentation at the event. I think it's worth it just listening to his presentation through the YouTube. Bob Schaefer from Lumosity.
Yes.
Lumosity did a fabulous presentation. And so at some point we'll pull those presentations out and we'll share those as individuals because their presentations are worth listening to. They're short presentations, they're less than 15 minutes. They fill in the space when the mental athletes are taking a break and are truly worth listening to.
But what's beautiful about the presentations that both Bob and Robert do, not all of us are scientific people. Not all of us are academics. Bob and Robert have a way to break it down in such common sense, light bulb popping, motivating, inspirational ways that Tony, who's more of an academic on this, and the both of us walk away so excited from different perspectives on it. So that's, I think, part of what the magic is with what we bring forward, what we have learned over 24 years of doing this, is learning how to communicate. Hey guys, this is not a mystery.
They really do simplify it in a way where when you listen to what they're saying, it's like, wow, this is exciting.
Yes.
Well, that is my Live with Tony for Monday. Karen, thank you so much for being here
Nice
and
to be
doing
here again.
another awesome job of
Thank you.
organizing the games and putting the long-term memory together, putting the word list together, the tea party events. I mean, people don't realize the amount of work, and as I said to Karen on the way home on Saturday evening, it's all of the days and days of work that you do.
It's
that
Tony, a
shows
little
up in a
secret.
few hours.
I've been passing some of it off to Patricia in between her photographing, so maybe that frees things up to shift around.
This is great. We bring the younger generation on
You
board
got
with
it.
us. So have a good evening. We'll see you on
Absolutely.
Wednesday.
Take care, folks.